Authorship in the AAA gaming industry is fading away, but Kojima is the anomaly that's keeping it alive. This is the claim that Alanah Pearce made on her YouTube channel recently. Salam, my name is Mustafa. I am the solo game developer of Sabr Path. I currently solo develop and self-publish my games on Steam, and I also have experience working in the AAA game industry. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Alanah Pearce, she's a person who professionally talks about video games, and in this case, making a bold statement about the video game industry. For quick context for this video, I'm going to give a quick summary on her video. What she explains as authorship in the video game industry is when game developers get public recognition for their work. She believes that in the AAA industry, authorship is going away. One point is due to team size. AAA game studios consist of hundreds, even thousands of people. With so many people working on the game, you don't get a unified voice or a single creative vision of the game. She states that unlike in other media, in video games, the players have agency over what goes on in the game. So it's rare that a game reflects one single vision due to the fact that you have so many options in the game. She makes the point of corporate branding, that corporations don't want a person's name to be the brand or the studio to be known for a single person. The corporations are preventing the individuals from speaking out just in case they say something controversial. They don't want that to be tied to the brand. She briefly mentions indie game, but the core of her point is the focus on the AAA gaming industry. She's stating that the AAA industry is losing its authorship, yet Kojima is the exception. But let's see if she ever had a point. I agree with her that AAA studios are getting larger and larger. They're getting too large. AAA studios employ hundreds of people across many different disciplines. But unlike her claim, which is that video game studios are unique from, let's say, movies and TV shows also are made by hundreds of people across many different disciplines. Just because you have hundreds or even thousands of people working on a project doesn't mean you can't have one unified vision or creative path for the project. The hundreds or even thousands of people working on the game aren't just doing whatever they want. They're all working within a hierarchy and taking direction from the people above them. There can also be an argument made that due to how large the studio is, there is a lack of creative vision to the fact that they have to make a game that is broader appeal for the mass audience. This is not true because when you have limitations such as making a game that has broad appeal for a mass audience, you have to work around those limitations. Limitations are what spawn creativity. Working around problems leads to creative thinking. But these large AAA studios require strong leadership to drive that unified creative vision. Without strong leadership, someone with a creative mind and someone who's able to guide others towards that unified path, then of course you're not going to have that unified creative vision without that leadership. This is why it's really important to have the right people in leadership roles. We can't just elevate someone as the creative director just because they've been in the writing staff for 10 years. Leadership is more than just creative skills. Leadership is about guiding the team towards the finish line. A leader not only has to listen to their team for feedback, but a leader also needs to know when to put their foot down. It's a balancing act. A leader can't be a people pleaser at all times, and a leader can't be a bully and a tyrant. Not everybody has the skills or the personality to pull this off. Despite Alanah's claim that AAA studios are so large that they can't have a unified vision, it is untrue. It's no different from a large blockbuster movie that's produced by hundreds of people. She also argues that corporations silence developers to protect their brand. I'm certain that there are studios that still want certain people to keep silent when working at that studio. That's how it was when I was working at Treyarch. It's clearly not true for all studios, and also there are leniencies for people of higher positions. We see developers such as Cory Barlog talk about mental health all the time, or Neil Druckmann making controversial statements. Then we have unhinged developers such as Matt Hansen and Colby Payne. Both of them brought very negative attention towards their projects, and neither of their studios have come out apologizing for what they have said publicly. Even though there have been cases in which developers have been fired for what they've said in the public, it's clearly not true for all studios. And as I also stated, those who are in higher positions have different sets of rules to go by. Usually leadership is allowed to speak to the public. Large studios are definitely a problem, but we're seeing the peak of large studios. We're seeing large AAA studios get mass layoffs left and right. While there are many factors that have resulted to this, a major underlying factor is that when it comes to software development, there are diminishing returns when it comes to the size of the studio. I'm very certain that Alanah is very familiar with Agile and Scrum development since she worked at Santa Monica Studios. But for the viewers who are unfamiliar, Agile is basically when you take the whole studio and make a bunch of very small teams. Each team is in charge of one feature or one small segment of the project, and they basically work together on a daily basis. The team has to communicate with each other regularly. There's also inter-team communication. They're constantly in meetings to make decisions and plan their development. When you have larger teams, then the meetings take longer. And when you have more teams, you have more meetings because you have to have inter-team communication to figure out what you're doing next. This is why we're seeing games that are developed by hundreds, if not thousands of people, such as Assassin's Creed Shadows, and getting, at best, mediocre reviews. Software development using Agile and Scrum methodology is not meant for hundreds of people. I'm not a business analyst, but I'm very certain that the video game industry is noting what's happening right now. After all these large AAA studios are done having layoffs and are rebuilding, they're not going to make the same mistake and get so big again. This is why I believe that we're at the peak of how large AAA studios are getting. And of course, the games that are being released with mediocre quality aren't getting the recognition because no one cares about those projects in the long run. It's only the projects that are really great that people care about the names behind them. And whether you like these developers or you hate them, they are being recognized for their work, such as Cory Barlog, Neil Druckmann, Hennig, Harada, Kamiya, Yoko Taro. All these developers have recognition for the projects that they have released, and they've released something within the last 10 years. So I'm not just pulling out names from decades ago, such as John Carmack and John Romero, who haven't made anything notable in the last 10 years. In the end, Alanah's video isn't even about the death of authorship in AAA video games. It was a video about how cool Kojima is. And that's fine. She can talk about how much she loves Kojima. She can say he's her favorite game developer. But she doesn't need to have this doomsday narrative about how video games no longer have authorship. She frames Kojima as if he's an anomaly, an exception to the rule, and no one else is going to be known for their games other than him. Even though I've already listed off many other AAA game developers who are known for their work. She even admits late into the video that the reason for her video was because he had to rewrite Death Stranding 2 due to its getting very good feedback during the playtesting, and he didn't want to make it mainstream. If you want a better explanation as to why he did that, I already made a video about that about a month ago. Check it out if you haven't already. My point being, even if you ignore indie games and only look at AAA games, authorship in the video game industry is not dead. She used it as a poor springboard for a video, which was basically an homage to Kojima. Again, that's fine, but it's either dishonest or a bad analysis. YouTube has changed up the algorithm again, so I'd really appreciate if you give the video a like and also leave a comment. If you want to support the channel, please subscribe. You can also find links to my games in the description below. Thank you, take care, salam.